Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I will be breaking into all of the Blitz Fair auction tanks, talking about their gold price tags, and if any of them are worth the gold currently being asked for, and how much gold are they worth once the prices get lower. Hopefully, all of those questions you have will be answered in today's video. I'll be referring to how much money these vehicles cost in USD and off of double gold bundles. If you make your way to the Wargaming website themselves, you can get better deals on gold. Not only are they cheaper than the prices in the actual game store, but as well, you can get double gold. So yeah, just make sure you always purchase your gold on their website, not in-game. With that aside, let's get straight into the tanks. Starting off, we have the M4A1 Rev, a very, very solid medium tank, but with quite a high skill cap. The vehicle features probably the best tier 8 medium gun, especially for a single shot. It's got 350 damage per shot, fantastic levels of pen, 10 degrees of gun depression, a great reload, DPM, aiming time, everything about this gun is crazy good. Unfortunately, it's mounted on an M4 Sherman hull, which means that, yeah, first of all, the tank's not the fastest at only 48 and a pretty mediocre power to weight. Add that into the fact the vehicle's hull armor is only 50 and the sides are 38. Yeah, I mean, the Rev, it's great, but it does have some big weaknesses, especially if you compare that 7,000 gold to vehicles that are currently just in the normal store without auction, like, I don't know, the Mil 1951 or Progetto for 8,500 gold. I just can't really say that as of right now, the vehicle's worth the asking price. I would definitely say if it gets down to about 5,500 gold, then it's not too bad of a deal, and judging that only 69 of the Revs have sold, yeah, I would just wait for it to get cheaper. Not a lot of people have their eyes on the vehicle. Next up, we have the WZ114, the Chinese Tier 9 Collector Heavy, a vehicle that I am actually quite fond of. A lot of people in the comments are probably gonna be like, oh boy, I don't really like the tank, but I do. The gun is pretty solid. It features a nice chunky alpha of 470 damage per shot. Not only that, but the vehicle also features some of the most hit points you will ever find for a tier 9. We can take a look and it's kind of crazy. It's got 2,464 hit points, but that's also without remembering that the thing carries reactive armor. That means that this tank has more effective hit points than even the majority of tier 10s when using reactive. Add that into the fact the vehicle's got 9 degrees of gun depression, incredible upper plate armor, and a super solid turret, plus that gun depression, and the vehicle does feel really enjoyable. The only downside I would say of the tank is that it doesn't have the highest DPM at 1980. To be fair, it's not bad. I mean, the majority of heavies are around 2,000 at tier 9, but yeah, its DPM is definitely the bigger downside of the tank. 20,000 gold, not worth the price, but I would say if it got down to about 16,000, then it's not too bad. Only about 120 of these tanks have sold, which really isn't a lot, especially when you realize that this has been an entire day. So yeah, I figured I'd wait just about a day or so before I make this video. That way you can actually get an idea of how popular these tanks are, which ones are selling more and less. And yeah, you can definitely see the WZ114, not many people are buying it because it's quite frankly a ripoff. 20,000 gold is equivalent to about 35 USD, which just isn't worth it. I would say if it gets lower than 17,000 gold, it's not too bad, especially because it is a fairly new heavy. So that's my opinion on the WZ114. Fun tank, a great heavy, so if that's the kind of playstyle you want, then that's a pretty solid vehicle. We have the 59 Patton, which is a Chinese-American kind of mix match. It's actually a pretty solid vehicle. I can't say there's anything crazy about it. I mean, armor-wise, it's got the hull of a Type 59, which is okay. It's nothing crazy, but you will get the occasional bounce. The thing that I actually really like about the 59 Patton is the gun. Not only does it feature 2,467 DPM, which is actually really, really good, it also features fantastic penetration at 268 on the heat. And by the way, that's with gun rammer, so really good pen. Its average damage is not the highest at 225, but the aiming time and dispersion are fantastic. Mobility-wise, the tank is decently fast at 50 kilometers per hour, and it's actually pretty well armored on the turret, unlike the T95E2, which features really, really mediocre armor on the turret. If we take a look at the 59 Patton's price tag, it's currently 4,500 gold, which is dirt cheap when it comes to tier 8s. In fact, that might be the cheapest I've ever seen a tier 8 go when it comes to a starting price on the auctions. It's going to drop 500 gold every day, and judging that it's probably going to drop for, I don't know, at least a couple days, this vehicle might get as low as maybe 2,000 gold or even 1,500 gold for a tier 8. Judging that only 150 of them have sold so far, it's definitely not a very popular choice amongst players. So, my suggestion, I would just wait until it gets as low as possible. If you could pick the vehicle up for 3,000 gold, which is only $5, that is an absolute steal. Sure, it might not be the most exciting tier 8, but it's definitely not a bad vehicle. And for that price tag, it's definitely worth it. You have a new tank in your garage, it earns you credits, and it's a pretty fun vehicle. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that vehicle getting cheaper and cheaper. Like, anything less than 3,000 gold is a steal for that tank. Now we move on to the Black Dog, a vehicle that I love. This is a German light tank, and it's kind of like an RU-251 mixed with a T49 90mm, and not to be mistaken with the 150mm. If we make our way over to Germany, we can take a look at how this vehicle statistics are going for it. It features very solid DPM at just shy of 2,400. It has great dispersion at 0.317, a pretty solid aiming time, and the best part is the alpha. It's a 90mm, but it features 240 damage per shot. I should also point out the vehicle has 112mm of a high explosive pen, dealing 320 damage a shot. That is actually insane damage. So the vehicle, yes, requires a lot of skill to do well in. It's pretty fun though. It's actually like one of my more preferred tier 8s to play in at this point, just because of the fun factor that it has going for it and the super high skill cap due to the gun it features. 5,000 gold, not a bad deal for the tank, but again, only about 200 of them have sold. So I would wait for it to get cheaper, especially because it definitely will. So I would say 4,000 gold or less is an absolute steal, just like the 59 Patton for this tank. Again, that's less than $6 or $7 worth of gold. So just, yeah, that's what I would say about the 59 Patton and the M4A1 Now we move on to the Chrysler K, and I am very surprised more of them have not sold. The Chrysler K is overpowered, like beyond belief, in my opinion. I've made a couple videos on the tank, and Wargaming buffed the pen. I'm not sure if people missed this, but the T32 and Chrysler have always featured pretty poor penetration when it comes to the heavies class. And the problem was, whenever you would fight tier 9s in the Chrysler, you wouldn't be able to pen them due to the fact that the gun only had like 240 mils of pen. It was actually the same as the T29. However, Wargaming realized maybe we shouldn't do that. They buffed the pen. It now has 280mm of APCR pen. That is crazy good. Not only that, but the vehicle features 10 degrees of gun depression over the sides, a top speed of 40, and a power weight of 20. The tank is insanely mobile for how much armor it features. The Chrysler is an absolute deal at 5,500 gold. And even though it's only dropping 250 gold each day, it's still a decent deal. I would highly suggest if you like heavies that have mobility, flexibility, and you want to try out a rear-turreted vehicle that actually has armor, the Chrysler is a 100% good deal. It's cheap, it's fun, and it will get the job done. Now we have the Type 57. Now the Type 57 it's actually a really cool Japanese heavy, and it's really the only Japanese heavy like it in the game. I mean, we obviously have the Type 71 and the Type 68 and even the Chisei, but none of them are the same playstyle as the Type 57. First of all, this tank looks epic, has one of the coolest legendary camos available, but not only that, this vehicle features absolutely fantastic stats going for it. 9 degrees of gun depression, 430 damage per shot, and yeah, not great DPM, but it does have very solid penetration. I should also point out the tank is decently fast, reaching 40 kilometers per hour as a top speed, 15 in reverse, and it has incredible armor. The turret is nearly impervious when hauled down. Add that into the fact the vehicle's upper plate is nearly as strong as an Object 252, it's just such a cool tank. Plus, it actually looks amazing. Now, if you do take off the legendary camo, it's not going to look nearly as cool. This is what it's going to look like when you get it in your garage. But even then, if you put the proper camo on it, the tank still looks awesome and definitely one of my more preferred tier 8 heavies at this point. It's a really fun tank. 7,500 gold, I actually would not say is a bad deal. You can see that it is the second most sold tank. And I would say, if you can get it for 7,000 or even 6,500, again, Basing off of the price tags here, it's about, what, $10 worth of gold if you get it for 6,500? Definitely worth it there. Type 57 is just such a good heavy. But with the way the auctions have been going currently and the little amount of tanks sold, I would definitely say that you can wait for this to maybe even get to 6,000 gold. I would just wait until the last moment you can buy the tank and then swoop it up, because that's going to be the best way to get your hands on it. We finish off with the T95E6, a vehicle that I believe is just a deal and a half. 700 of them have sold so far, and my guess is by tomorrow or at latest the next day, it's going to be completely gone. But for good reason. 15,500 gold is not ridiculously expensive. It's less than $25. And for $25, you can get what is going to be probably the best heavium in the game. Even better than the Chrysler K. The T95E6 is currently already amazing. It reaches a top speed of 50, which is insanely good for a heavy. It's got a great gun when it comes to penetration, damage per minute, and accuracy. Next update, the vehicle's getting even more DPM, more accuracy, and better mobility. The tank is going to be insane. So if you want my opinion on the E6, I would highly recommend to pick up this vehicle if that's the kind of thing you're after. It's definitely not like a medium or a heavy in playstyle. It's a mix of both, but because of that, it allows you to be super flexible whether you are fighting heavies or mediums. It's just an absolutely incredible tank. 15,500 gold is already a decent deal, and if you can get it down to 14,000 like tomorrow, I would just suggest to pick it up over a lot of the other vehicles in this list. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If I were to rank the vehicles in most popular to least popular, or what I should say better is best tank to worst tank on what your priority list should be, E6 should be the highest on the priority list. Then I would say the Chrysler K. Then I would probably say the Type 57. Then after that, probably the 59 Patton. Then the Black Dog. Then the WZ114. And finishing off, we have the Rev. Now, I should point out that there should be more auctions. I might be wrong, and Wargaming just put these here as placeholders, but it looks like there will be more auction takes, and quite a few of them at that. So it'll be exciting to see what Wargaming brings into the auctions in the future. I am personally hoping that Wargaming ends up bringing the AE Phase 1. That's really the only thing I ever hope and pray for, but the world will never know. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.